On a Friday afternoon in October 2021, CCTV cameras at Manchester's Trafford Centre captured Rebecca Joynes, a 28-year-old maths teacher, alongside a student from her class, known only as Student A, to protect his identity. The footage shows them at the Gucci concession in Selfridge's department store. Student A pulls out various belts from the display, trying them on with a mix of excitement and awkwardness typical of a teenager. At the counter, she places her bank card down, paying £345 for a designer belt that far exceeds what most students could afford. Later footage from outside her Salford Quays apartment block shows the pair arriving through a gate, the student carrying his bag packed for an overnight stay. Just 3 days after that night, Greater Manchester police officers knocked on the door of Joynes' one-bedroom flat.
Hello.
Hi, we're looking for Rebecca.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, we're going to come in for a second. I'm not sure how much you know what's going on, but Colin's just got something that she needs to see.
Yeah.
So obviously, given what's happened, I know you've been sent home from school today, so you are under arrest at the moment on suspicion of... You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later rely in court. Anything you do so may be given evidence.
How's it gone so far since?
So the necessity for the arrest is obviously to protect the vulnerable and for prompt and effective investigation. So obviously you are under caution. You will be given obviously your chance to say everything at the station, but obviously for the time being you're under arrest. So
Rebecca Joynes was born on December 30th, 1993. From a young age, she showed promise as a gymnast, competing and training rigorously, which instilled in her a discipline for physical fitness, but also contributed to lifelong struggles with eating disorders due to the sport's emphasis on body shape. She pursued higher education in sports science, earning qualifications that led her to a career in teaching. In 2018, at the age of 24, Joynes joined a secondary school in Greater Manchester through the Teach First programme, a scheme designed to place high-achieving graduates in challenging schools to teach subjects like maths. Joynes quickly settled into her role as a maths teacher for Year 11 pupils preparing for their GCSE exams. Colleagues and students described her as bright and capable, but beneath the surface, personal turmoil was brewing. Joynes had been in a long-term relationship for 9 years, her first and only significant adult partnership, which ended messily just before she started teaching. The breakup left her scarred, feeling lonely and isolated. This emotional vulnerability was exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, during which schools shifted to remote learning, further disconnecting her from social networks. By 2021, as in-person classes resumed, Joynes was 28 and teaching classes that included 2 students who would become her victims, Student A and Student B. Among her pupils, she earned the nickname Bunda Becky, a crude reference to her physical appearance that some students in her class commented on. And instead of shutting down such inappropriate remarks, Joynes would laugh them off. The events leading to her crimes began in earnest on October the 11th, 2021, during a maths lesson. Joynes set Student A a challenge to guess the last digit of her mobile phone number, providing him with the first 10 digits. It was a suspiciously simple puzzle, and Student A quickly figured it out by trying combinations until her phone rang on her desk. Once connected, they began exchanging messages over the next few days. The surviving messages, before Joynes switched to Snapchat, were suggestive and flirtatious, but not overtly sexual. 4 days later, this escalated to in-person contact. Joynes arranged to meet Student A after school, agreeing he could stay overnight at her flat. As Student A packed an overnight bag with clothes and essentials, he lied to his mother, claiming he was staying at a friend's house. Joynes picked him up in her white Audi A1 and drove him to the Trafford Centre, a popular shopping mall in Manchester. There, they went to the Gucci store in Selfridges. She paid £345 for the belt using her bank card. Joynes later claimed in her pre-sentence report that she bought it because she didn't know how to say no, but the court dismissed this, noting she had invited him shopping and offered the gift. After the purchase, they returned to Joynes's one-bedroom flat in Salford Quays, where the alleged inappropriate encounters occurred. Forensic evidence supported his account. He later told police that as they walked up the stairs to her flat, he thought the situation was weird and expected her to stop it. The reality felt strange and wrong. And after he said, "I hope to God you don't get pregnant," he messaged his friend on Snapchat saying, "Just had sex." The friend expressed disbelief, prompting student A to secretly photograph Joynes in the flat and send it as evidence. Rumors circulated among students and parents, reaching his friend's mother, who realized he had lied about his whereabouts. By Monday, the situation unraveled. The student's distraught mother stormed into the school reception, demanding answers after learning her son hadn't been at his friend's house. Police were notified and visited the school to speak with Joynes. In a panic, Joynes confided in another student, student B, and friend of student A, who was in her class. Crying, she asked him, "What do I do?" Student B, feeling sorry for her because she had been nice to him, helped her reset her phone to factory settings, wiping evidence of her communications with student A, except for one surviving message, a heart emoji, and 3 kisses. Joynes was sent home from school that day. Later, police arrived at her flat to arrest her on suspicion of... Bodycam footage shows Joynes opening the door, wearing her school lanyard. Joynes was interviewed, but answered no comment to all questions, hoping lack of proof would protect her. She was released on bail with strict conditions. No unsupervised contact with anyone under 18. The school suspended her pending investigation, and she moved back to her parents' home in Wirral after what she described as a breakdown. Forensic evidence from her flat corroborated his account. Joynes continued to deny any inappropriate activity, claiming student A slept on her couch after they discussed her history with men, and that she had let her guard down due to loneliness, but nothing illegal occurred. Despite her bail conditions and ongoing investigations, just weeks after her arrest, student B contacted her on Snapchat. Their messaging started innocently, but quickly turned flirtatious. Student B, still years old, added her on Snapchat in late 2021. They arranged to meet at her apartment in January 2022, before his 9th birthday. Joynes told him she had a condition making pregnancy unlikely. Student B regarded it as friends with benefits initially, but the relationship lasted 18 months, becoming toxic. Joynes grew jealous and controlling, urging her to get with someone your own age, as she was pretty enough. The relationship persisted through major milestones in the case against student A. In December 2022, Joynes attended court to watch student A's pre-recorded cross-examination, denying the allegations, then returned home to continue her secret encounters with student B. The judge later called this breathtaking arrogance. In March 2023, Joynes discovered she was pregnant with student B's child. She revealed it during a date night at her flat, decorating with rose petals and setting up a game of surprises with clues leading to gifts, culminating in a baby's onesie reading "Best Dad." Student B reacted with shock, saying, "What the f—?" They both cried, undecided about keeping the baby. By June 2023, the relationship soured, with arguments over her jealousy. Student B ended it and confessed to his parents, who reported Joynes to police. On the morning of her second arrest, Joynes again reset her phone to factory settings, and student B did the same, erasing their communications. She refused to comment in interviews. Joynes gave birth to their daughter in early January 2024. The child was removed from her care within 24 hours via an emergency court order. Joynes was granted supervised contact 3 times a week. Student B was denied involvement in the pregnancy. No updates on due date, gender or health, describing it as heartbreaking. The baby now lives with student B, supported by his parents. The trial began in May 2024 at Manchester Crown Court, lasting 2 weeks. Joynes faced 6 charges, 4 counts of activity and 2 counts of activity by a person in a position of trust. Prosecutors presented CCTV of the Gucci belt purchase and arrival at her flat, surviving messages, bodycam arrest footage. Student A testified via video interview, describing the events, admitting he found Joynes attractive but the experience weird and that he wouldn't repeat it. Student B testified in person. He said, "I questioned if I was right to give statements about the woman who was carrying my child. Since then I have replayed a lot of things in my head and spoken to a lot of people, and it has made me realize the full extent of the abuse carried out on me and the tactics that were used to do so." Joynes testified, denying with student A and claiming it with student B started only after he was 18 and she was dismissed in July 2022. She broke down crying about her child being taken away. Under cross-examination, she admitted inviting student B at school, but denied attraction at that time. On May 17, 2024, the jury found Joynes guilty on all counts after deliberating. Outside court, Detective Constable Beth Alexander of Greater Manchester Police delivered a statement.
Firstly, I would like to thank the victims and their families for being brave enough to come forward and work with us in our investigation. Rebecca Joynes is a sex offender. She was their teacher and they rightfully put their trust in her. But Joynes decided to abuse her position and used it to 2 teenagers. We now wait for Joynes to face the consequences of her actions. I would like to thank the officers who have worked closely with the victims and their families in establishing the full circumstances of this case, and the investigation team for their hard work and dedication during this investigation. The 2 victims and their families have asked for their privacy to be respected now and moving forward. They all wish to carry on with their lives and put this ordeal behind them.
Sentencing occurred on July 4th, 2024, at Manchester Crown Court. Joynes arrived hiding her face, accompanied by her father, carrying bags of possessions. She cried and shook in the dock. The judge sentenced Joynes to 6.5 years in prison, requiring her to serve at least 2/3 before parole eligibility. She must register as a sex offender for life, comply with a 10-year sex harm prevention order, and adhere to restraining orders prohibiting contact with both boys.